Today on Monkey Life, it's dental day for Lemur Houdini.
I thought it was to do with the canine, but I'm starting to change my mind. It might be to do with one of the cheek teeth.
New arrivals Benny and Nia meet the odd couple.
Wait for him to get in a good position, and then I think we're ready to go.
And a new baby woolly is named. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Got one.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 22 different species. It's dental day for the small monkey team at the park. Two of the primates, ring-tailed lemur Houdini and stump-tailed macaque Maureen, have been showing discomfort when eating. Despite treatment, there's been little improvement, so it's time to call in the vet.
Houdini has had a swelling on the left-hand side of his muzzle for a couple of weeks and a little bit on his right. This has come up before and we've managed to treat it with antibiotics, but this time the antibiotics don't seem to be having as much of an effect as they have before. And actually it's the same for Maureen. She has had a swelling on the right-hand side of her muzzle. And we did treat it with antibiotics and it has pretty much disappeared. But as the vet's coming in to do Houdini for a dental, we'll do Maureen at the same time. And when they're down, we'll do an all-over health check as well.
Houdini is first up. At 21 years of age, he's one of the oldest in the troupe, and for the last few days he's been looking unwell. He's off his food, and staff have also noticed his breathing is becoming raspy. The lump on the side of his muzzle could be an abscess, indicating an issue with a tooth. The twofold problem is causing concern for the care team.
If we don't do the anaesthetic and we don't get the vet in, then the problem's not going to get better. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all will go well.
Houdini has been kept apart from the rest of the group overnight, making it easier for Karen to box him up and take him to the park's hospital, where the vet team, led by Holly, are ready and waiting. He's quickly put under, and Holly begins with a general health check.
Good boy. His lung field's actually quite clear.
A look in his throat reveals that he may have another problem.
It sounds like a sort of upper respiratory wheeze rather than sort of crackly noises in his lungs. I think it's worth doing chest x-rays, just make sure there's nothing obvious going on. And there's definitely a bad tooth, and there's sort of a big swelling, I guess potentially a broken canine underneath where that lump is.
It seems Houdini has a couple of unrelated problems needing immediate attention. To get to the bottom of both, Holly wants to take some x-rays.
You did an x-ray of his head as well?
Yep, and we're going to do both sides of his chest. So this one is through the top, then both sides of his chest, and then we're going to do his throat as well. OK.
Before she tackles Houdini's dental issues, Holly decides to check out his respiratory problem.
His chest's actually looking remarkably clear, considering there's no great masses or anything. You can see his airways nicely. There's a few little bits of really nice clear lung, but most of it's just a bit foggy, like a sort of chest infection, bronchitis type appearance.
Thankfully, the x-rays show the problem is simply a chest infection, which can easily be treated with antibiotics. Next, Holly examines Houdini's teeth. She finds a problem straight away.
Oh, this one's actually going to fall out if I push it, so do you want me to take it out? It's his right upper canine. That's wobbly when I touch it. So.
It'll come out.
But removing the long, sabre-shaped tooth isn't easy.
It's pretty grotty. There's all, like, pus and old food and stuff behind it.
It's a large canine.
In him, I'd say they're probably comparable to a good-sized dog.
It takes 40 minutes of careful probing and gentle persuasion.
Crikey, Houdini, come on, man. Hey, there we go.
Finally, the tooth is out.
Because there's a little bit of infection there, we're not going to stitch up the hole because we'll trap the infection inside. So we're just going to let it heal, and mouths heal really quickly. So, yeah, within a week, I imagine he'll be feeling an awful lot better.
That's 2 problems sorted. Now for number 3. Holly begins to investigate the sizable lump on the left side of Houdini's muzzle.
I thought it was to do with the canine, but I'm starting to change my mind. It might be to do with one of the cheek teeth. So we're going to pop a little needle in it and see what we find. It's full of pus.
Oh, there it goes.
This must have been sore.
It's a large abscess, which Holly aspirates to try and drain the infection.
I think I'd probably do him more harm taking the tooth out than just getting rid of this. That's gone right down, isn't it?
Yeah, that's much better, doesn't it?
It's been a long morning, but the team have managed to deal with all Houdini's medical issues.
Well, we're going to treat his what we think is a chest infection with a long course of antibiotics, and we're going to be treating the dental pain from the abscess and the wobbly tooth with anti-inflammatories, and then we'll see how he goes. And if we need to add in maybe a steroid or something like that in the future, then we can. But I guess we're just reassured that he doesn't have anything really serious going on.
Do you think he'll be all right for food and water later?
Yeah. They're so much tougher than us, aren't they?
Once he's come round, Houdini can go back to the lemur enclosure at Malagasy. But there's still plenty of work for Holly. Waiting to be prepared for treatment is Maureen, one of the oldest stumpies at the park. And she has a whole new set of dental issues to be examined. It's a special time for Levar's group of woolly monkeys. They've a new arrival, and at only a few days old, the little one is already thriving and settling into life with her family. Born to mum Xingu and father Levar, this baby is Xingu's 3rd child. She's already raised daughter Olivia and son Zavi, and is a complete natural when it comes to motherhood.
Xingu and her latest arrival are doing really, really well. It is definitely a little baby girl, which is brilliant news for us, and we've now called her Layla. Xingu's a fantastic mum, you know, she knows exactly what she's doing. She really cares and looks after her little ones. So she's taking great pleasure in kind of showing off her baby and just really doting on her, and the little one's doing fantastically well.
At almost 28 years old, Dad Levar is the oldest woolly monkey living at the park. These days, he takes life a little more slowly, but that doesn't stop him being a doting dad. He's a big, gentle giant, and his temperament and experience bring a real sense of security to the group and his growing family.
So Levar really does have a soft spot for Xingu in this group. The pair of them have actually grown really close, and maybe even more so now that little Layla's arrived. And when they're in the enclosures together, they're sunbathing together, they're lying down together, they're taking naps together. Xingu's even kind of lying on him, which is really nice to see. They're a real close little family, which is brilliant.
Xingu's older daughter Olivia is constantly by her side, and so far seems quite taken with her new sister. It's a great learning process watching mum care for and raise a baby, and should stand her in good stead in the future when she has children of her own. But one member of the group not joining in the family fun is little Cosmo. Cosmo was hand-reared by Alison and the team when first-time mum Isla rejected him. Despite a rough start, he's come on leaps and bounds. He's a fully integrated member of the group, loving life and playing with everyone. But there's one milestone he's yet to achieve, and that's venturing outside.
With Cosmo, we're kind of letting him take it completely at his own pace. We don't want to push him and we don't want to force him into an area where he's not comfortable. Obviously, he's in quite a unique situation in that he doesn't have mum there to help him along the way and also to protect him when he is in a much bigger, more open area. So it's very daunting for him and very scary. He's just not really showing much interest. He knows where the slide is now and he's put his head under the flap and had a little look around. But at the moment, his curiosity is just not getting the better of him and he prefers to stay inside where it's nice and warm. We don't want to push him before he's ready because that will just make the whole experience really negative for him. So we're more than happy for him to take it at his own pace and we'll just wait and be along for the ride along with him.
Cosmo still loves to play inside, especially when adopted dad Levar is happy to join in with a bit of play fighting. It's been a few days since the park welcomed two new arrivals, rare white-throated guenons, Benny and Nia. They were confiscated from the illegal wildlife trade in Lebanon, and so far are coping well in their new surroundings at Monkey World. The pair are obviously close and are eating well and enjoying their spacious new home. Today will be another big challenge for them. They're about to be introduced to two potential housemates.
The plan is to move our Patus monkey Mitsa and her mate George, the ringtail lemur, over to our new Gwenon house. Hopefully the moves will go nice and smoothly. We'll get them in the house and just getting all the last few bits ready so there's a bit of nice food in there and that ready for them. And then we'll see how things go and decide whether or not we're going to move forward today with an introduction with Benny and Nia, the two Gwenons.
Mitsa and George are affectionately known as the odd couple. George is a lovable but doddery old lemur. At 34, he's the eldest in the park and suffers with arthritis and poor mobility. Patus monkey Mitsa is quite the contrast. She's a large, feisty female. When she lost her companion, Sissy Joe, the team decided to pair her with George, in the hope they would provide each other with companionship. It's been a remarkable success.
Mitsa is very protective of George. It's a bit like he's her pet that she must look after. And she's really, really fond of him. She likes to know exactly where he is at all times. If we're trying to give George food, she likes to keep an eye on us just in case we're upsetting him. So she really loves him. And George quite likes Mitsa. He just sort of bimbles around in his own little lemur world, little old man. So it's a strange partnership, but it works really well.
Steph has managed to get both members of the odd couple into travel crates and is now heading over to the new complex where the Gwenons live. It's been designed to cope with just this sort of introduction, with 5 large bedrooms and a lovely outdoor space. In theory, there's plenty of room for the 4 to coexist, if all goes to plan. Introductions are not taken lightly, especially when it involves 3 different species. Very little is known about white-throated Gwenon behaviour in the wild, and virtually nothing in captivity. The team will need to try to read and understand any warning or distress signals as they happen. Initially, the 2 pairs of primates are kept in separate bedrooms, while still being able to see and hear each other. Benny and Nia are extremely lively and bouncy characters, and seem desperate to get a look at the new faces opposite. But George and Mitsa seem more interested in checking out their new house and the food on offer than these strange newcomers. After 30 minutes of relative calm, the team decide to bite the bullet and let all 4 in together.
I'm just hoping that everybody will pass by each other when we open the doors and not, maybe check each other out, but not have too much of a problem. The first reaction that we're looking to avoid is Nia simply diving in and having a go at somebody. So right now, George is sort of wandering up and down the ramp. So we'll wait for him to get in a good position, and then I think we're ready to go.
Benny and Nia don't hang around and go straight in, although all 4 primates are wary and keep their distance. The 2 Gwenons seem to take more of an interest in lemur George, perhaps on account of his size. He is, after all, a lot smaller than his housemate Mitsa. and not such a daunting prospect. Nia does summon up the courage to approach Meetsa, but quickly backs off when she turns around.
Nia and Benny are definitely a little bit wary because Meetsa is a lot larger than them, and you can tell that, you know, if she turns around and looks at them, they do dart away. But at the moment, there's not been any actual physical contact, nothing really negative. So at the moment, we're just letting them carry on pottering around. We're obviously going to keep a really close eye on them throughout the day, and we'll see how it all plays out.
So far, so good. Considering all their differences, it looks as if the odd couple may become the odd foursome. The next big step will be to let them all outside together. An afternoon summer rain shower has kept some of the park's residents indoors. But in the Orangutan Nursery, as usual, this doesn't stop them having fun. Out of the 6 who make up the group, 5 are youngsters. The one exception is matriarch of the house, Oisin. The 2 boisterous boys, 7-year-old Sylvester and 8-year-old Jin, are a bundle of fun and energy. They're constantly play-fighting and testing each other's strength. But they're also keen to play with the 3 little ones. Youngsters Bulu Mata and Rika are still as close as ever. But 3-year-old Bulu is becoming a typical boy and, given the chance, likes to join in the fun and games with the older boys. Rika doesn't seem to mind. Just 4 months younger, she's quite happy to amuse herself. And she has a new little playmate. It's the youngest in the group, Mimi. She arrived from Moscow Zoo a few months ago and has now settled in and become part of the family. Everyone has taken a shine to her, none more so than Oisin. And the feeling is mutual. Oisin has always had a soft spot for the youngsters. As the only adult in the nursery, since Roro moved back to Tuan's group, she's taken little Mimi under her wing. It's a real bond. Food-loving Oisin sometimes even shares a snack with Mimi. This happy and settled group is a testament to all the hard work and dedication the team have put in to make this European creche for orphaned orangutans such a success. Following his challenging dental surgery, ring-tailed lemur Houdini is recovering back in Malagasy. Next up is one of the oldest stump-tailed macaques at the park, 33-year-old Maureen. She's been suffering from a swelling on her cheek, and although it's gone down recently, the team are worried it may be an infected tooth. It needs checking out. Unfortunately for Maureen and her housemates, they have a history of dental issues.
The Stumpies, when they arrived from the lab, they all did have vet checks when they first came in, and there were a lot of problems with their teeth at that point. So we know that Maureen doesn't have many teeth already. In fact, all the top ones along here have already gone. So she doesn't have many, so we obviously don't want to take too many out, so that we leave her with none, but we need to make sure we take any infected ones out. They do have a really strong root on the teeth, so if they are not completely ready to come out or they're a bit tough, they will be difficult, and the vet will have a job to get them out.
Before she came to Monkey World, Maureen had a tough life as a laboratory animal. While there, she was taught to present her thigh for injections. The fact she's conditioned to do this so readily in order for Jeremy to sedate her is really helpful, but it's also a poignant reminder of her past. As soon as the anaesthetic takes effect, Maureen is boxed up and taken straight to the park's hospital, where vet Holly is waiting. Maureen is quickly intubated.
Don't move, Maureen.
If I tapped it?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
Once she's stable, Holly begins an examination of her teeth and quickly spots the problem.
She has got a tiny little hole over her first tooth there, so maybe that's the remnants of it. We'll have a look. I just want to find out what this is that's poking out between her teeth.
A closer inspection reveals several foreign bodies stuck in the hole and around the infected tooth.
Oh, Maureen, it's stinky. That is a really big hole, Maureen.
Holly has no option but to remove the tooth. It's badly decayed and could cause Maureen even more problems if left untreated.
Luckily, this is quite wobbly, so keep your fingers crossed for me. Oh God, it really smells. Hey.
Oh, it's a good one.
Luckily for Holly, the tooth comes out fairly easily.
It did, and thank heavens for that. I lost sleep over this last night.
So far, so good.
It's not as bad as we first thought. We thought that she would have a broken canine. In these species, the root on the canine is so big that was quite a daunting prospect, having to take that out. And it turns out it's actually one of her molars that she had the problem with, and that's come out quite nicely. So we're just checking the others.
Unfortunately for Maureen, she has another tooth with a small abscess above it. And while it's in better condition than the previous one and isn't loose, it could cause her more problems in the future.
Yeah, I'm probably going to come to regret it because it's probably going to be a nightmare.
Holly thinks the sensible answer is to remove the tooth. But this one is proving a lot more difficult to extract.
I think if I do it much harder, I think I'm going to snap the roots and then it's going to be a bit of a disaster. Come on, Maureen.
The tooth has 4 very deep roots, making removal problematic. Holly has to ensure every little piece comes out. That's what she was trying to avoid.
Not good.
Part of the tooth has broken. It takes Holly almost an hour to complete the procedure. But finally, it's done.
We opened a flap in the gum to make it easier to remove the tooth, so we've just got to stitch the flap back together and then she can go back to bed.
All right, happy to turn her off? We need to...
Yes, let's wake her up.
It was a bit of an ordeal for Maureen, but the team are pretty sure the elderly Stumpy will be back to her grumpy old self in no time. Next time on Monkey Life, Bruce the Loris is in hospital for a checkup.
Our plan is to take a larger biopsy and then get the pathologist to have a look at the deeper structure of the gland.
And there's something lurking in the undergrowth at the chimp enclosures.